Welcome back to the AI Ripple Effect podcast, everybody. Today we're joined by Russ Jones, the CEO of Private Fleet Net Zero. Welcome to the podcast, Russ.
Hey, Adrian, it's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and what Private Fleet Net Zero does and who your typical customers are?
I'm a serial entrepreneur here in Silicon Valley. This is my fourth company. And what Private Fleet Net Zero does, matches the 45% of trucks that are in private fleets that have usually empty backhauls to tens of billions of dollars of broker spend. And we're really like Match.com for this available capacity. What we're really trying to do is also decarbonize our world. The big trucks out there generate a quarter of the greenhouse gases and over half the deadly fine particulates.
What triggered you setting up the business in the first place?
So my very first startup was a company called Clearbox Communications that pioneered the market for headsets for mobile phones. And we became the category winner, shipping millions of units. And when I sold that company, I then remembered all the drama I had trying to arrange trucking. So I started up a company called Cargo Chief that initially was a tech-enabled freight brokerage focused on smaller shippers. The company grew very quickly. And then in 2017, other brokers wanted to license our technology. And when I heard that for the sixth time, it reminded me of a distant relative that came to the California gold rush, not to be a gold miner, but to sell pickaxes and shovels to gold miners. So I said, if we could combine all the data from all these brokers, we could do something really cool. So we sold our brokerage, pivoted the company, and today Cargo Chief has over 1,000 buyers buying billions of dollars of freight spend. Cargo Chief did a pilot with Amazon's private fleet, and the pilot was successful. I started looking into this, like, oh my gosh, this is an incredible opportunity. It's almost half the trucks out there, and they're mostly empty on their backhauls. This is a spectacular opportunity. And so I made an arrangement with the board to spin out a new company and give a portion of the new company to the Cargo Chief shareholders. And now new company is off and running. Just within a few quarters, we've got many dozens of named carriers in our system and tens of billions of dollars of freight spend interested in pursuing and procuring that capacity on our platform.
Wow, amazing. And what from that exposure with your customers, what are you seeing as the biggest trends in the logistics business at the moment?
I think right now the U.S. market is very soft. It's been down. People with tariffs this year are very concerned about what to do. So a lot of people are holding back. So the number of shipments are down. During COVID, a lot of fleets, private and for hire, added capacity. And now what are they going to do with all these trucks? So there are a lot of empty trucks out there. But big change is happening. The U.S. government is just starting to enforce English requirements on drivers. And there's estimates 10 to 20% of the drivers will not pass. So in a quarter's time, you might see a lot of capacity dry up, which actually works out better for me because our private fleets are more inclined to have higher quality, better paid, more professional drivers than the fringe for hire carriers.
Interesting.
I think AI has an incredible opportunity to help streamline and improve logistics. You think about globally, logistics is a $9 trillion industry. It's massive. Here in the States, it's approaching $2 trillion, and trucking is around 900 billion of that. And the American Trucking Association says there's something like 1 million trucking companies. So there are a lot of tiny players. It's hyper fragmented. The top 100 fleets are maybe 10% of the trucks. So there's a lot of unsophisticated players, and AI can help all those players with the repetitive tasks, do the repetitive tasks far more effectively, more efficiently, and more accurately. And so I was just at the TIA, which is the Association for Freight Brokers annual conference in April, and there were maybe 10 AI companies that are trying to help brokers be more efficient in their repetitive tasks. We use AI here at Private Fleet Net Zero to help us digest spreadsheets, read headers, read emails, and things like that.
Right. And in that modernization you're doing, have you come across any challenges in putting that in, or has that been pretty seamless?
I think you have to be, I think cautious is a reasonable term when you're trusting the AI will read these emails correctly. So I think it's good to do, check the work, not 100%, but check 2 or 5%. Seems like a reasonable thing to do.
Awesome. And it sounds like you're scaling pretty quickly. Have there been any lessons learned over the last period of time that you would highlight to others out there?
Yes, for the entrepreneurs out there, many times entrepreneurs feel compelled to get their own tech team. And so they spend a bunch of time trying to recruit people. They hire someone, that person told them they could build the whole system, then they couldn't. And they spent a bunch of money on these stateside employees trying to build up these tech teams. I did something, a different path that's worked out wonderfully for me is I went and interviewed 20 different development firms that were highly active in our space. There's a wonderful website, Clutch, that can help you find development firms. And then I got a quote from the development firm to build my MVP, my minimum viable product. And then I asked them to pay for it on milestones. And that was pretty smart. So in the early days, cash is so precious. You have so little of it. You're expecting to do so much. That was a great way to control the spend, unlike other companies that run out of runway. They run out of cash because they spent all their money trying to develop something and they had a flawed development plan.
Sure. And those milestones were primarily around functionality deliverables?
Yeah, functionality, finish the scope, this functionality, that functionality, and worked well. I'm continuing with the firm in maintenance, but I keep throwing more functionality at them, so it's all good. And I think it works great. Eventually we'll hire our own engineers as mature, but it's neat to have at least kick off and get to an MVP very quickly. I got to market faster, and I got to market less expensively, and I got to market with fixed cost. That's a pretty strong thing to say, I think.
Sure. And you talked about a lot of the manual processes that you were automating using AI. But if you had a time machine, hypothetically speaking, and you could go back 12 months, would there be anything that you would do differently?
I think the path has been pretty good. We're just starting to hire carrier recruiters, and I have a part-time CMO that's deeply connected in the industry, has done marketing to carriers for decades, marketing carriers to be specific. So I think that's worked out well. I think a key thing that I like to do and recommend to others is to have lots of advisors. They can help you accelerate your success, give them a little bit of stock. Their networks took decades to build, and now you're going to harvest their network in just a few quarters. So that's all really good.
Awesome. And what are your plans for the coming year?
So we are in a beta state now. So we'll come out of beta, start generating revenue. Our model shows us that we'll return into cash flow positive and rapidly grow. And we're excited about adding not only trucking capacity, but we're now being pulled by our early customers into containers and kind of port logistics and train logistics and intermodal. So that's a whole new thing that could be very interesting and very enticing for our company.
Really interesting. And for the people out there listening who want to look up Private Fleet Net Zero, where can they go? Where can they find out more information?
Please come visit us at our website. It's www.privatefleetnz.com, or just Google Private Fleet Net Zero.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Russ. I'll make sure that we include those links into the description of this podcast so that everybody can find out more about what you guys are doing. And thank you to everybody for joining today. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, Russ.